All right, so we are going to clean some of our skulls. Inside this freezer, we have some skulls. I got some fresh meat trying to lure some of the bugs off our skulls. So I got a deer head for Lance. That's a dead head I found. And I got a whole bunch of the skulls from where we trapped and the Dermestid Beetles. You can see them down there eating on the meat. Those are the beetles working away there on some meat I just threw in to get them lured off the actual skulls. We're gonna take these skulls out, knock a couple bugs off them. We're gonna degrease them. So I'll show you how that process goes here. You can see those scales. I fed them a tail off a carp the other day and I cleaned it up, everything but the scales. So, all right, let's get these guys pulled out and then we'll show them to you and then we'll put them in the degreasing tank. All right, so we got the skulls out of the bug tank. So we have this one here. This is my nephew Gage's. We have this one here. This is for Lance. So when we got this one, it hadn't been scun yet. So you can see that the bugs ate most of it off, but they're actually the skin, there when the beetles popped off. The skin's still on some of it, so once we get it softened up in the water, that should fall right off. But you can see the bugs cleaned out the sinuses just perfectly, so they did a really nice job up in there. And as we degrease these things, they'll get a lot better. This one here is the one that the boys and I found when we were hunting. It is was a dead head. We found it must have been shot by someone else and walked in and died. So we got permission to take this from the DNR. So it's a pretty decent one also. So we'll get these things degreasing. So this is how I have the degreasing tank set up. So what it is I have a heater down inside there. I'll be heating it up to 130 degrees. So I have my little ink bird here set to 130. So the water's cold right now at 66.6 degrees. I have a little agitation pump in here as well that's circulating the water. So what we'll do is we'll add some Dawn dish soap to it, maybe a little bit of borax, but mainly the Dawn will get them degreased. We'll let them sit in there at 130 degrees for a day and change the water a time or two until we get all the grease off of them. So that'll actually make the bone white. So if you look at the difference of these ones, how they're kind of yellowed up in here. This is a skull that was actually a deer I hit with my pickup accidentally. It was still in velvet, so the antlers look kind of strange. But this one here, this was just degreased. So you can see the difference in color between a degreased one and not degreased one. And then we have all these other skulls are ones that we had trapped. So we'll get those degreased at a later time too. But yeah, follow along, we'll see how it goes. So when we put them into the water, the Dermestid Beetles climb out. So I got a couple of them on me that I was just picking off the antlers and we're gonna put them back in my bug tank. Little guys have a lot of work to do, but they live up inside the skulls, so sometimes it's hard to get them to jump out. But yeah, here's them. So the cool thing about these beetles, don't mind my messy shot. Cool thing about these beetles is they don't eat live flesh, they only eat dead flesh. So having them on you, they don't bite you. At least that's been my experience. But put them back inside the bug tank here. Whoops, there they went. All right, so these have been in the water for 24 hours in the soap and water at 130 degrees for 24 hours. As you can see, there's a little bit of cleaning you gotta do on them. So there's a little bit of tissue that didn't get totally taken off and some hair here and there. So I'm gonna sit and clean them up a little bit. A few spots that just need to be picked apart. Then the water has turned pretty gross. It's pulled a lot of grease out. You can see my heater down there in the bottom. So I'm gonna dump this water out, put a fresh batch of water in with some new Dawn dish soap, get these guys cleaned up a little bit and put them back in. And see how they turn out with another day of soaking. So bear with me and see how it turns out. Thanks. All right, the skulls are clean. I got them sitting here. Actually, I had to order some new peroxide. So I got some peroxide coming. I got some beaver skulls, coyote skulls, other things here too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this peroxide. I'm just gonna use a little paintbrush, paint it onto the skull. Let it sit for a couple hours, hose it off, and they should be a little bit whiter. So we'll take a look at that. I'll paint them up here and show you what that looks like, and then give it a little time and hose them off and see what it looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a lot of care not to get the peroxide up onto the antlers because it will bleach the antlers. So you gotta be really careful for that. But yeah, stay tuned. All right, so I got Lance's all covered in peroxide. So you can see it there, it's just that white film all over it. So they cover every bit of it that you want bleach. I just realized it's got some on my shorts, so I'll probably have a white spot on my shorts. Yeah, so I get all up into the sinuses. I paint all up on that soft tissue, or that not soft tissue, but the sinus membrane, whatever that's called in there. Paint that, paint the teeth, try to get them cleaned up. And then that's just some old dust on there, that's not anything. But yeah, so get all over the skull and eye holes all around it. So let that sit for a while. We'll rinse it off with water. And so this peroxide, this is the exact same stuff they use for bleaching hair. So if you we're in the 90s and bleach the top of your head. This is probably the stuff they used on it. But yeah, so we'll see how this one turns out. I'll get these other ones painted up with this stuff, and then we will see. I'm gonna try, so on the predator skulls, on the smaller animal skulls, the teeth like to fall out. So what I've got is I got some new glue. It's like I don't know, some kind of modeling industrial strength glue. I'm gonna try to use that to hold the teeth in, because otherwise, like the beaver teeth, they'll slide all the way out of the skulls. These, even the long ones, will just curl out. They're big curly tooth. Look like this. So they kind of curl out. Like you can keep pulling them all the way out. I'm gonna leave it in there because they get kind of fragile, because up higher they're hollow. So you gotta be kind of careful with them. The other thing is, on this coon skull, I'm gonna glue the bottom jaw back together so that way it'll hold up. And the loose teeth I'll glue back in. Here's the bottom jaw of the beaver. So it's gonna look pretty cool. Bleach. I'm gonna try to keep the teeth yellow, but bleach the actual skull portion of it. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. All right, here's an update on the skulls. So this is how they've turned out after one round of bleaching with the peroxide. So these ones back here have not, but these deer heads have. This one of Lance has actually turned out the whitest out of the three. Then that dead head, and then Gage just has a little bit of yellowing in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do one more round of bleaching on him. I had said earlier in the video that I was gonna leave it on there for 2 hours. Well, life got busy and it was on there for about a day. And actually it just dries on and sits on there real nice. Doesn't seem to deteriorate the bone or anything like that. Even up on those sinuses. Look at how white those sinuses are now up in those cavities. So those looking a lot better. I'm gonna put another round of peroxide on them, let them sit overnight, and I'll rinse them tomorrow. All right, we got these skulls done. Look at these things. These things turned out so nice. Clean, look, the teeth look nice and clean. The sinuses are all in good shape up in there. So actually I'm happy that it turned out. So you can compare them. This is a white table. You know, it's pretty close to white. You have a little bit of yellow from a skull, but not real bad. But at the same time, you want it to look like a bone. I've got one skull I had done from somebody else where they actually couldn't get it as white as I wanted, and they painted it. And I was really disappointed by that, so I decided I was gonna do it myself now. So, but I'd rather have the bone color. It looks a lot better than if someone paints them white, in my opinion. But yeah, these is how they turned out. Let me know your thoughts on my process. I'm gonna try to add some pictures here. We'll check out my video editing of before, during, and after the different bleaching processes. So you can see the difference in colors. We'll see how good my video editing is at that point. But yeah, take a look at these guys. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Thanks for watching.